companies that are utilizing it to help drive are the ones that are much more transformational and having more success.
Hey, what's up YouTube? Jeremiah Hersey here, and today we're going to be talking about data source settings. Anytime you receive a file from someone or you download it from the Power BI service, you're going to get a PBIX file, and that file can be opened up inside the Power BI desktop that we're going to be working with today. But as you go to work with inside the Power Query editor to start making changes to the data source and manipulating it, you might run into some errors when your data source isn't in the same place as the file that you've received. So today we're going to talk about how to change your data source settings. There's a couple different places you can do that. If you look down in the description, there's the PBIX file we're going to be working with. It already has the proper transformations as we move forward with data modeling. So go ahead and download that new PBIX, and also the data source if you need that data source, if you haven't already downloaded it from a previous video. And so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the scenario that we're going to be using today is I just received this file, or I just downloaded this file from somewhere, and I want to go work with inside of the Power Query editor. And so as always, to get there, we're going to select the Transform Data button. Now, as we're talking about changing the data source settings, notice that there is a drop down right here. So the first place that we can change the data source settings is actually from right here inside the desktop. So notice here, there's our data source settings. And as we go to look at our Power Query editor, you're going to see the error that occurs. So I'm going to show you, it's located right here, but we're actually going to select Transform Data and go inside the Power Query editor. So as we look at our tables, one of the key indicator is the triangle with the exclamation mark in it. And notice that it says data source error, could not find the file path E drive. So what's happening is that as you're bringing in this file, the location of where the data source is from the original file is different. So what we're going to do is we're going to point to the location of where you stored your files, and that way it's going to be able to read the data source and everything's going to work properly. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to do this, we're going to select the data source setting from up here at the top of the screen. And so down at the bottom, we're going to select Change Source. So we're going to direct the location of the data source to where you downloaded your files onto your desktop. So go ahead and point to the location of where you put your new file. So mine's going to be on the C drive here. And there's the worldwide importers that we're going to bring in. Now I'm going to select Open, and it's going to change the file path. So it went from the E drive of where I downloaded it from. Now it's at the C drive, pointing to the correct location. And we're going to select OK. And close. Now this is going to refresh all the tables. So as you select the table, it should populate, and you should now be able to work with inside of the Power Query editor. So anytime that you want to be able to modify anything from within inside the Power Query editor, you have to make sure that you have access to the data source. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select Close and Apply up here at the top of the screen. And once again, what this does is it closes the Power Query editor and applies any changes that we have made to the entire data set. So not just the 1,000 row preview here inside the Power Query, but the 10,000 or 10 million rows that you have. So we're going to select Close and Apply. It's going to load the data and load the tables. All right, well, now our file is set up properly and we can go ahead and start talking about data modeling in the next video and really start to understand how these relationships work between the tables and get an understanding of what type of functions we're going to be using in navigating between these different tables. Thanks so much for joining me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. See you in the next one.